Hi, I'm Joe, and this is the Decahedron RPG Podcast. Hi everyone, this is Joe. No James today. What we're doing is a quick catch-up on all the feedback that we have in the backlog. And so he and I looked over the voicemails that we had and stuff. I said, I have something to say about these. I don't think you really do. And he agreed. And so for most of the ones, we still have a couple that he wants to comment on. But for most of these, I am going to go ahead and do it myself. So this is a mail call episode. Mail call.
Mail call from the United States of America.
All right, our first, let's not lie. All of our voicemails are from Jason. Jason is from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast or the Nerds RPG Variety Podcast. I always got flipped between those two. I'm like, what is it? What is it? And then I finally figured out the source of my confusion. The issue is that his theme song says Nerds RPG Variety Podcast, but everything else just says cast. So that's why the two things were floating around in my brain, and my brain could never pick which one to go with. So I just say podcast. Anyway, all of our voicemails are from him. We do have one email from Sam, but let's get started. First one is from Jason from episode number 3, which in itself was a mail call. Let's listen to Jason.
Hey guys, Jason here. Just listen to mail call number 4. I'm sorry I've kept inundating you with calls. They've given you a lot of work. Sorry about that. I will send you, so somebody has worked up actually the monsters in the monster manual to correlate with the AD&D weapons versus AC chart. It's in Flipping and Turning, the Delph-approved AD&D 1E fanzine, and I will send you a link to that so you can look at that. As far as first cars, this is fun, so I'll join in on this. My first car when I was in high school was a 1977 Ford LTD station wagon. That was my dad's car that he gave me, but that ended up dying, and after I went in the Army, after I was done at Fort Benning, I got stationed at Fort Ord in California, and I bought, I don't even know what it was. I think it was a little Subaru thing, a little compact car that I bought at a used car lot outside Fort Benning just to drive across country, and it also died. I made it across country. I made it over Fort Ord, but it ended up dying there at some point. Those were my early cars. The first one I was given and the first one I bought with my own money. So take care. Happy New Year to you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Jason. Thanks for that feedback. If you sent that link, I can't find it, or I accidentally deleted it. I was trying to clear out a lot of space from my Google Drive, and the Gmail account counts against that. So I was deleting things that were kind of big. And so maybe because this voicemail was attached, I deleted the whole mail. But in any case, I cannot find that link. So sorry about that. I can't comment about that. As for the cars, it sounds like you have a habit of destroying cars, sir. That's okay. I've been there myself. And by there, I mean a little place called Rolla, Missouri, which for whatever reason, I've never lived in Missouri. I lived in Texas on the tail end of I-44 at the time. And I-44 used to go up and connect to St. Louis. And then from St. Louis, I would grab another road up to Indiana to see my daughter there. So twice, 2 separate times while driving through Rolla, Missouri in different years, different cars, my car broke down, like major breakdown, days of repairs in Rolla, Missouri. So I can definitely understand cars dying in cross-country treks. Thanks for that voicemail. We're going to go on to your next one, which was for episode 25, which was also a mail call episode. That was my Jolo mail call. We're going to give that a listen right now.
Hey, Jason here. Just listen to your latest feedback episode. Great episode. I won't bore you with when you talk about Niagara Falls and then you talk about George Eastman. Those both have connotations to Italian schlock cinema, like Italian B movies, like the 60s and 70s. But I won't bore you with that because that may not be your thing. You might not want to hear about the Eaten Alive cannibal movie that had a scene in Niagara Falls. Rather, there's a actor George Eastman, who's in a lot of Italian films. So I won't bore you with that. But I will mention that you'll probably enjoy the latest episode I put out of my podcast called, I think it's, I forget what it's called now. Isn't that horrible? Anyway, in my latest episode, I've got a guest, Derek, who talks about a fudge game. He talks about the Denari Adventure game. So I think you'll enjoy that little discussion. It's called Spies Spill Over. It's episode 456. So make sure you check that out, and I will talk to you soon. Keep up the great work.
Hey, Jason. I'll work backwards there. So I did listen to that episode. Actually, I listened to every episode you do because I am subscribed to your podcast. So I did hear that. And in fact, I sent you feedback on your show talking about my experience with some fudge stuff. And I'm not going to talk about it here. I'll just leave that as a teaser for people to listen to your show. The other thing was George Eastman. Of course, I was talking about a very different George Eastman. You were talking about the actor George Eastman, who, to be honest, I've never heard of until just now. The other George Eastman that I was talking about, of course, is George Eastman, the founder of Eastman Kodak, inventor of plastic film and all that stuff. And Italian schlock cinema, did you say? I've never heard that term before. I think I know a little more about cinema than the average Joe, but I am not a true cinemaphile, I guess. So no, I wasn't familiar with this term. I have never seen any of those movies that you're talking about. So I have nothing to say about that. It's kind of off topic for the podcast, but hey, if you want to write me offline and tell me more, I definitely like to hear it. Next feedback is was from episode number 26. So let's listen to that.
Hey, Jason here. Just listening to your latest feedback episode. You're talking about there's an old book that you guys are going to review. I'm looking forward to that. I have lots of old books, and I love hearing about them. So interested to hear what exactly we'll be reviewing. But I also look forward to next week's feedback episode because, well, I know I'm one of those people that send you a ton of feedback. So trying to let you catch up before I drown you in some more. But keep up the great work. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Jason, you don't need to apologize for drowning us in feedback, as you say. As I've said in other podcasts, that is what motivates me to continue. And without it, this probably would have stopped many episodes ago. So I continue to thank you for that. Yeah, I don't know why I teased the old book without saying it. And old is a relative term, right? This book is really only back as 1980, although now I guess that's like 43 years ago. So that would be an old book. But normally when I think of old books, I think of way earlier than that. The type of stuff that I normally download off of Gutenberg, the 19th century stuff or early 20th century stuff. But in any case, this being a gaming book is old for gaming books. And the title of it is Through Dungeons Deep. And we're still working our way through it because I read it back in the 80s, but I want to read it again. And this one's taking us a while because we want to go all the way through the book and then condensing that whole book down to 3 good and 3 bad. I sent an email out to the author to see if he'll be a guest. Kind of a long shot, busy guy, but I'm hoping, cross my fingers, hope for me. We're going to do a giveaway because that's how much I like this book. Spoiler, now you know how the review's going to go. And I don't know what the condition is going to be. Definitely, I'm going to steal from you. I'm going to say that people have to call in or write in and tell us something. Don't know what yet. Stay tuned for that. It's coming up. Giveaway and book review. And let's go. I am skipping episode 27 because that's the one that I think James has something to say about. So we're going to listen to your feedback for episode 28.
Hey guys, Jason here. Just listening to the latest mailbag episode. Great episode. With Tunnels and Trolls, I agree. I like the silly spell names too. As far as dice go and new players, it's funny. Lately, I've gravitated towards games that just use one kind of dice. Be it Barbarians Lemuria, it's all D6s, or I've been running a lot of Boot Hill lately, and Boot Hill just uses D10s, or you could use D20s. Back in the day, you'd use a D20 or 20-sided die, but it'd just be 0 to 10 twice. But yeah, I don't know. I think that makes a whole lot of sense though, using the die roller for a brand new player online. I agree with that. One complaint about rolling real dice online I've heard is, well, everybody can see the die roll so they can share in the excitement. But if you're using cameras, then you're going to see the player's face, so you'll see the excitement on their face anyway. But great episode. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for indulging me. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to scheduling to join you guys. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, Jason, I'm going to have to send out that email for that schedule. I keep saying it like while I'm on the air, and then I forget about it when I'm off the air. So that email will be coming. So 3 things you mentioned there. 1, rolling dice. I don't play with cameras online. I figure nobody wants to look at me. I don't want to look at anybody else. That sounds kind of antisocial, but I am an introvert, so maybe. Yeah, no, I don't play with cameras. I just play with audio, no cameras, so we wouldn't see it there. The other thing you said, silly spell names for TNT. Yeah, I guess we are the 2 people, well, probably 3. I imagine that Ken St. Andre likes them. I guess we are all of those. And your last thing was games with single dice. Yeah, I'm actually a fan of games with single dice. Of course, we were just talking about Tunnels and Trolls. Tunnels and Trolls only uses 6-sided dice. Classic Traveler only uses 6-sided dice. GURPS, which was my mainstay for a long time, only uses the 6-sided die. When I wrote Decahedron, I wanted to write a game that only required one kind of die, but I always thought, like when I first got into gaming, all those funny little dice, they added something special to it. So I wanted to base it around the 12-sider because that is my favorite die. But around the time I read something where someone had done a big poll and they asked everyone what their favorite die was, and by a large margin, the die was a 10-sided die. So I rewrote the game around that to appeal to public opinion. I regret doing that. The echoes are felt to this day, which is because that's why this podcast is called Decahedron, because it was named after, because I own the domain, because I was making the game. When I'm doing Lucky 7, Unlucky 13, all that fun stuff, they are centered around 12-sided die, like I wanted to do in the beginning. And that's that. All right, we are running rapidly out of time, so I'm going to jump ahead and I'm going to just do Sam's email. We will save the rest of the voicemails for our next feedback. Sam sent us an email about episode number 30, which we just released earlier this week as I record this, although by the time you hear this, it will probably have been last week. Sam said, Sam says some words that I don't say, not even on the air. James has a little potty mouth when he's not recording, but I don't use curse words or swear words, depending on where you grew up. And not for any moral reason. I mean, I served like 26 years in the military. Believe me, I've heard it all. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me. It's just during that age when you're growing up and people start using those words, I was really shy and I was really introverted and I didn't have a lot of friends. And so I wasn't a member of a clique where that was a cool thing to do. And so I never started then. And then when I got older, I'm like, well, I'm an adult now. Maybe I'm supposed to use these words. And, I tried for like a week or 2. And in my mind, it just sounded like I was trying to be that little kid on the playground trying to sound cool by using naughty words. And it just didn't feel right. So I dropped that. And it's just not something I do. But anyway, apparently Sam has no problem doing it because he sent it in this email. So I'm going to do some rewording here. And I'm doing it on the fly. I should have wrote this down beforehand. But oh well. So episode 30 was about sex and D&D. Pretty much James and I said, we don't do that. Sam says, we don't do anything overtly sexual at our table. There was one session where there was one farmer who was a little too interested in finding his lost cow, so it became a running joke that guy was way too interested in his cow. That's about the most anything sex-based has ever come up. All right, Sam, thanks for sharing that story. I hope you don't mind me rewording it. It was humorous, though. Thanks for that. Hey, everybody, we're at the 17-minute mark. By the time I trim this down, we'll probably be right around 10 to 15 where I like to keep them. Thanks for listening. Until next time, happy gaming. Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Decahedron RPG Cast. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a voice message by calling 562-774-2278. That's 562-RPG-CAST. Or by visiting sayhi.chat/Decahedron. You can also email us at feedback@decahedron.com. Links are in the show notes. For more information, visit decahedron.com. Remember that Decahedron is spelled with a K. Music is by Kevin MacLeod. Logos by Design Cat. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep those dice rolling.